This is Jordan Tower with JT News. Make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Let's get right into the news. All right, so we're talking about Rick Ross, Ricky Rose. Okay, so he challenges Jay-Z on this song Little Havana. You can take it how you want, but, you know, he said, kind of talks about Meek's betrayal, touches on it a little bit. They're going to get cool again anyways, though. Like, let's be honest. Like, they've been in the game 10 years together. Obviously, Rick Ross has gone longer, but like together, they've been together for 10 years, you know? So even though Meek Mill, you know, getting emotional with the Twitter fingers and saying that he was never paid off a rap and all that other stuff, and that directly, you know, affects how people feel about Rick Ross because he is Meek Mill's label / Warner. So, but still, you got to hold the company that you're signed to / that, you know, you got to hold them responsible, right? So anyways, this comes after Meek Mill's trying to get over to Rock Nation. He's meeting with Jay-Z. He talks about Jay-Z more than he ever talks about Rick Ross. When people challenge him with Rick Ross, he says, you see the MMG chains on my neck? There's no MMG chains on your neck. It's all Rockefeller, Rock Nation chains. Nobody sees the MMG chains, okay? So Rick Ross kind of like took a shot there, like, I let these rapper guys get closer to Meek. Now, obviously, that's like a slight jab at Jay-Z, but in the same sense, he wants to go do a versus with Jay-Z. Could Rick Ross do a versus with Jay-Z? Could he? I guess if you match record for record, but not hit for hit, if you understand what I'm saying. Like, Jay-Z had a lot of hits. Rick Ross only had 3 years before social media came. Jay-Z had 14 years before social media really kicked in, where Twitter became something in 2009 and 10, right? That's where things kind of changed up. And then you had Spotify around that time, just shortly after. The whole game shifted on Rick Ross as soon as he really got to the bag. Because, you know, you had early Rick Ross, Port of Miami Rick Ross from 06 to 09. But then you had a whole nother era of MMG Rick Ross from 2010 to current. This is where you hear Meek, Wale, the people that lasted on the label. There's a lot of people that didn't last on the label. We don't need to mention any names because we don't need to shade anybody, right? But Jay-Z versus Rick Ross on a versus? I don't think so. I would rather hear Nas and Jay-Z. I want to hear two people that are already arrived at where they're at. We all know Rick Ross will go down legendary when it's all said and done, but you kind of want to hear more of people from that era, you know, from that, you know, 90s, 2000, early 2000s, because it matches better because the climate was the same, you know, and you'll get the same vibe from the music. Did it stand the test of time? I would rather hear. Everyone would want to see Jay-Z and Nas. Let's not, you know, let's not kid ourselves. You know, that's the one. That's the only versus anybody will want to see, and you can't pay those two to do it. It has to be where they want to do it. Those two are very rich. You know, they took their money and flipped their money like a somersault. Okay. So you got Rick Ross and Meek Mill. It seems like they're kind of working things out. Meek Mill posted the album, even though Meek's still on punishment and not on the album. Now, here's another funny thing Rick Ross is up to. He wants to make peace with Freddie Gibbs and Jay-Z. Freddie Gibbs and Jeezy, right? And these two have deep issues where a lot of things have been said, right? Probably more so, obviously, on Freddie Gibbs' side towards Jeezy, because he felt like Jeezy wasn't really supporting him, was kind of a hater. Jeezy's not the best CEO. Jeezy is not the best CEO. Who has he put on? You can't say YG. That was a favor to Def Jam to co-sign him. That was not putting him on. He was not CTE. Maybe they did it for one album just to make it look like something. Trust me, he was still. They were trying to correct the tooted and booted YG, and he was working hard on mixtapes and releasing videos to get rid of that image and become the YG he is today. And, you know, the Jeezy stamp helped a lot. Now, as far as Freddie Gibbs, it just never took off. And then, like, at one point, he started, you know, things started going south, and Jeezy kind of pushed him away. And then, you know, Freddie Gibbs said, "We said," and, you know, you just can't really go back on that, you know. Jeezy spoke about that before. He said, you know, I think he's upset that things didn't go his way. Things didn't go your way. I mean, it's like, yo, I'm not to blame for everything that your career didn't pop. His career did pop, though, eventually, on his own. Freddie Gibbs, that's why he's willing to work it out when he talked to Rick Ross. Here's the funny thing. Rick Ross is trying to be a peacemaker, yet the biggest blunder in his career is taking another man's life. The real Rick Ross. Not only did you take his name, you took his persona. You took his backstory. And then you didn't even acknowledge him when he calls you on the phone. He acknowledges every other drug dealer except for the guy who he got a story from, you know? And then Rick Ross always makes listen, Rick Ross is a great lyricist. He has a great ear. He's just, you know, he's great at music. But let's be honest, man. He got his whole life from this. And he'll acknowledge every other drug dealer but this guy. The real Rick Ross. The guy who was a major part of that era, you know? And obviously he revered him the most because he took his name and his whole story off of that. I almost swore. It's so crazy, you know? So he needs to fix that before he can talk about fixing things with other people. Even the Lil Wayne and Birdman situation. I know he was sticking up for his friends, but like, yo, fix your own situation, man. You're not right either. You're not 100% right either. None of us are, but don't act like you are. Like, I don't act like I'm the perfect person in the world either. We all have our things, you know? Rick Ross needs to fix that thing with the real Rick Ross before he talks about fixing things with other people. Anyways, guys, this is Jordan Tower with JT News. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. I appreciate you guys so much, and I'll check you guys in the next one. Peace.